Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome to yet another Sunday night and another episode of the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for The Walking Dead. This is Season 7, Episode 5, titled Go-Getters. We're not really sure what happened in the episode. A lot did happen, and it moves the story forward towards the inevitable showdown with Mr. Negan that we all know is coming at some point. We're excited to break it down for you. Got Derrial back on the panel tonight. We'll see you in just 1 second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, what's going on?
That was a different start than I thought was going to happen.
You thought it was gonna go.
I was ready. I was ready for it, Ben. I was ready for it.
It's gonna be awkward tonight. Just
Yeah.
feeling it.
Yeah.
Also, Mr. Negan. When did that start?
I liked it.
I think it was because I saw that the Chappelle Show thing. Did you guys watch that?
On SNL.
It was amazing.
Yeah, the Chappelle Show Walking Dead thing. And doesn't the one character be like, Mr. Negan?
It's Mr. Negan. Mr. Negan. Yeah, you're right. That was good. Good call.
Yeah. What did he say? The one guy's like, he looks more like a Veronica or something like that. that stuff was great.
Oh my
guys,
gosh.
welcome to the
You guys
show.
are crazy.
Welcome to the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for The Walking Dead. We've got a full panel tonight. We got a packed house.
We do.
I'm going to start on the far left over here. We got Mr. Derrial Christon. Welcome back.
What's up, everybody? I'm happy to be back here with the full panel. I'm so excited. You know,
I'm
Had
excited.
you.
He is.
Missed
He's
you.
losing his.
I'm losing my mind tonight. I'm so excited. Jesus.
Yeah, if the people want to find you, where can they find the official social media correspondent, fourth panelist?
Oh wow, that's such a big title. You can find me at Derrial Christon, and hopefully my name is being spelled at the bottom of this screen because my name is really difficult. But it's DerrialChriston. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You guys have been tweeting me about the show, and I've been tweeting you back. So continue to do it because I love hearing what you guys have to say and predictions and all that fun stuff. So
Right.
Hey
Susannah
guys.
Kim, welcome
Yes,
back.
Thanks.
Did you forget her name for a second?
yeah, you did.
bit.
What I wanted to do was
little
I know my speech was so empowering that you forgot.
Right.
my
I had a
name.
story
That's
that I
okay.
wanted to segue into, but it was going to cut off your intro, so I was like, I'll wait to do it, but now I'm doing it anyway. So Susannah Kim, welcome to
Thank
the
you.
panel. What's going on?
Thank you. You guys can find me at Susannah_Kim. It's SUSANNAH_Kim.
You're gonna just stare at me awkwardly.
Hey, John
till I
Carle,
talk?
what's up,
Hi.
man? How's it going?
Hi, John Carle at the John Carle, TheJohnCarle, and also Whiskey and Waffles on YouTube.
Yeah, right? There's a lot of whiskey going on in the show those last couple episodes to reference.
I'm not a big Scotch guy, but I appreciate the effort.
I am. This was a good scotch. I got proved wrong. Somebody in the comments let me know that the stuff they were drinking last episode was very cheap. Like,
Very cheap.
very cheap.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, I wasn't like, I think maybe it was like an Oban 14, and you guys were like, oh my God, shut up.
I did like that Simon is a gin drinker. I would not have expected that from him.
It's very LA hipster of him.
Yeah,
It is.
he seems more like a Coors Light or even Miller High Life
Yeah,
kind of guy.
he's
PBR,
a Bud
maybe.
Light guy. He's a Bud Light guy.
He's not hipster enough to
Yeah.
be PBR.
No, okay,
No.
that's still pretty hipster. Guys, I already said it, but my name is Ben Bateman. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ben Bateman Media. Share your thoughts with all of us. We love to hear them. We like to respond back to you, and of course, leave your thoughts in the comments below. There's been a ton recently. It's been a lot of fun.
Yep.
People are sharing all kinds of theories and things like that. Somebody tweeted at us about this Morse code theory from last episode that none of us caught, which was really cool. So yeah, it's very helpful and a lot of fun to have you guys share your thoughts with us, as well as the fact that we are on iTunes. If you give us a rating and a review on iTunes, we stay high in the standings. It allows us to provide free content, which AfterBuzz TV always does, and we'd like to continue doing, so help us out there. The final thing to shout out is that we do a spoiler section at the end of the episode. Now, some of us have read the comics, sometimes like to
Yes, I
talk
do.
about the comics. We choose not to talk about those things during the actual show because we feel like even if we know them, if we're vague, it's better if you're just somebody who likes to watch the show and enjoy the show for what it is. But we always kind of take 2 to 5 minutes at the end of the show. We'll give you a big spoiler alert, we'll sign off, and if you want to hang out with us for just a few minutes, we'll talk about it at the end of the episode. Let's get into tonight's show, guys. What did you think? What were your initial thoughts on tonight? Back to 60 minutes.
John, you go first because you look like you have a lot to say.
I never have a lot to say. I was happy that we finally know pretty much where everybody stands and what the current status quo is. I thought it was interesting that they were interspersing both the Hilltop story and then injecting Enid in, since we haven't seen her since the start of the season. It had a nice, exciting moment in the beginning, had some good tension later on, but I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either.
Right. Susannah, what do you think?
Same. I'm glad that we find out, or we get to see, Maggie and Sasha and see where they are. But definitely, I think it's so far my least favorite episode of the season.
Wow.
I know. Just for me, there are a lot of things that fell short.
My least favorite was last week because we didn't have you with us, Derrial.
Thanks
Yeah,
for not making
that
this
was
about me
huge.
tonight, though.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Oh,
John.
that's all I'm going to
Appreciate
do
it.
tonight.
Appreciate it.
Derrial, you've got a great combo going on, by the way. The sweater and the pocket square and the jacket.
Oh,
I think
you know what? Thank you.
it's
Ben.
pretty nice.
From
And
you.
I said something
And you
when
look
he
great
first
too,
got
Susannah.
in.
I'm sorry. I thought.
Oh, thanks.
I had to step up my game.
You don't have to do that. Yeah, you don't have to.
I had to step up my game for
You're
you,
not
Ben.
Hawkeye this week.
No,
To seal the hell out of you later.
to answer your question, I actually, this episode, it gave a lot of information. I
Yeah.
did like the teaming up of Sasha and Maggie tonight and finding out, where they were and kind of the, that storyline. I'm really annoyed by Enid. I am. I said that from the beginning. I told John, while we were watching the show, I'm over her, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I'm just tired of her.
And my
Yeah.
response was, I just hate all teenage angst right now.
I can even take Carle though, but we'll get into this a little bit later. I get into the teen puberty. I understand it, but I'm over Enid.
Before we get
and her decisions.
Before we get into the show, I just gotta say, without depth perception, that kid's shot sucks now.
Yeah.
Him throwing the darts, it's like,
yeah.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
start correcting, because if you throw 5 darts because you see all the holes in the wall, just tilt, learn to tilt.
I hear you.
Like the
Right.
kid
Yeah.
doesn't learn.
He will eventually.
He will.
learn.
But I was
will.
kind of thinking, when you aim at something, don't you often shut one eye so you have a clear no?
I think you can adjust. But it hasn't really been very long actually in the chronology of the story, so I think he will adjust. Carle
Yeah.
will become a more valuable sharpshooter, I think. I mean, you would.
I mean, sharpshooters only need the one eye open. So.
Yeah, exactly.
that's what
I'm
I'm
sorry.
saying.
I'm
So you're
sorry.
saying
And I'm
give
doing,
the kid a scope.
I'm doing the chat tonight. So Aubrey Del Rey, yes, Ben is really cute. Yes, he
Oh,
is.
thank you.
Yes,
Always.
Thanks. So.
yes, he is
Everybody.
really cute.
But
Yes.
Daryl's better
Everyone's
dressed.
getting commented left and right
That's
today.
the first comment. Ben's cute.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
Aubrey Del Rey.
I want to say that I think it's interesting that I walked away from this episode, I think, with a similar feeling that some of us had, which is that not much felt like it was happening. But I've had a similar feeling throughout this whole season. There have been moments, and certain episodes definitely moved more than others. But it's a weird feeling when you've watched 5 episodes into a season of a show. You've revisited every character, every piece of the story that was left hanging last season. Yet, I think because of the way that it's been structured and the way that they've separated it out and really taken their time with it,
Yeah.
it kind of still doesn't feel like much is moving.
Well, it's only been in time frame, what, like a week and a
days,
half?
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's been a week at most, probably.
Right. And that's like a weird thing. It's like I do sort of wonder if this is one of those situations, do you think we were able to watch all 5 of them back to back, we would feel like the story was progressing at a much faster pace. It's a little bit of a too much too soon thing maybe with that, like we waited the entire off season, we get this big reveal episode, there's so much anticipation, it's so heavily talked about, and then we kind of have to just slow back down and remember that this is a zombie soap opera. Like it's a slow story about character development. There's not that much that happens usually. It's kind of the nature of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we get every other episode as like an exciting episode, and then it goes back to being a little bit basic, and then it gets exciting again, and you know. I mean, I think we had to have this episode tonight to kind of give us the story, as I was saying before, about Sasha and Maggie, and it definitely developed more of that. And we want to know what happened with the baby and everything, how they felt about Abraham and Glenn, you know, the horrible death that they had, which I think this episode gave us that. But it was still a little bit slow to me.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, let's kind of start out with the early episode opens up. So we find out that Maggie's all right. She's talking to Dr. Carson. We see him again, and Sasha's just kind of hanging out. She's on the stoop. She's waiting to find out what's up. And we find out Maggie's good. She had a separation of the placenta from the uterus, but it was a small separation.
You said that so smooth.
I was hoping you were going to say the medical term.
That was
to be honest.
that was so
yeah,
like
I
captivating
choose. You
the
know,
way you said it.
I choose my words.
You're like, I don't want to butcher this right now.
But we find out she's okay, which is great. I don't think any of us wanted any of the theories to be proven true about a
The
zombie baby.
miscarriage. No.
The zombie baby theory.
True.
The miscarriage. I don't think the show can support 2 babies, so I do think that one of the 2 babies will go. But then again, Judith is almost never on screen.
Well, that's some of the comments right now on here. It's like, where's Judith? Like, we don't see her. We haven't seen. When was the last time we saw her?
Well,
Actually,
they mentioned her. They said, you know, when Rick was leaving to go on his trek to find supplies, he goes, "I need somebody to stay here with Judith."
yeah, but I mean, we haven't
Right.
seen her physically in a while.
She's
Yeah.
she's very rarely
We
in the
haven't seen
show.
Tara in how many episodes?
Well, in the
too?
preview, we
and we
see
know
Tara.
she's still around. So
True.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, something to just point out, Derrial. You were not guilty of this, but the 3 of us all made the mistake last week of talking about Rosita and Spencer and being like, I wonder if there's any sexual tension there. And then like everybody was like, because they hooked up last season, and I was like, oh yeah, they totally
did. Yeah,
They slept together.
Yeah,
they
we
slept
were
together.
about that.
Yep, we all just talked.
Rosita
through
gets
it,
around.
So
You know.
that was a thing. Anyway,
Not really.
She needs her D.
Right.
It's all
yeah,
good.
right.
She
One
needs
night
her D.
stands are forgettable sometimes.
She's only been with 2 people. That's not getting
Yeah.
around. I mean, I guess if you look at like the total population,
There's like
of the
10
world,
people.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
It's a
That's
high
like-
percentage, high percentage. But anyway, guys, sorry for that. That was just one of those oversights. Sometimes we get the chance to go back and watch old seasons. Sometimes we don't. We're just kind of processing the new episodes right when we get them. So, but back to what was happening as far as when we first pick up the episode. So that all happens. Maggie's all right. She's instructed that she needs to stay at the Hilltop, but she has this run-in with Gregory. Now, Gregory played, I think, actually quite well by Xander Berkeley.
I love him, but he's annoying as hell.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. Xander Berkeley is the all-time greatest shitweasel in movies. That's what he
You're
is.
right. Actually, you're right. He plays that well.
He
You're
does.
right.
If anybody remembers the guy that betrays Harrison Ford in Air Force One,
You're right.
that's
Yeah,
Xander
no,
Berkeley.
you're right. You're right.
He's the double-crossing agent. So, and he does that in a lot of movies. He's like just a very good shitweasel. So,
But we knew from the beginning he was a piece of trash in this show. So
Yes.
it wasn't even like him turning on people. It's like, you know, he's just already this like, I got put in charge. He's essentially the kid who got bullied in high school, getting to be the boss of the people that bully him at like the car wash or something like that. And he has that little power trip of, I love bossing people around because I'm in charge. And it's like, dude, you somehow fell into success. You weren't actually in charge.
and we'll talk about him getting put in his place in a little bit because it was pretty beautiful. But his conversations with Maggie and Jesus in turn, and then Sasha, it's all kind of awkward. And you're like, when is Maggie gonna just like stop taking this? When is
I
she
was just yelling, hit him at the screen.
Oh
for
my
most of
god!
the episode.
Right when it opened. So it was definitely nice to get that payoff at the end there. And she has the great line, right? She says Glenn's last name. Is that the first time she's ever said it out loud?
As far as I can remember, which the internet will tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard her say, I am Maggie Ree.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really a nice moment, actually.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yep.
And for you guys, yes, we know that Judith was shown last episode. We're kind of just saying that it feels like it hasn't been a while, but we do realize that she has been shown last episode.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
For the people on the chat, just had to throw that in there. So.
Yeah.
And then the future commenters.
Yes.
Yes. But I mean, that's kind of
honest.
unavoidable. Yeah. So that's like the whole sort of tension is that Gregory is like, plausible deniability. If I kick you guys out, I can stand behind this. If the Saviors find out what happened, he's like, oh my God, you didn't take care of him like you said you would. He's not long for the world. I think he'll be around for a while, but he is not going to be in a position of power. That guy is like...
He's already falling out of power. Like, one of his declarations he made is they are leaving, and within a single episode, that declaration has already been just overturned on him. And if he was really in power, he could have forced that upon them, but he already knows he's behind the 8 ball on this.
I kind of like the restraint, too, when he was like, I'm also recovering from a stab wound. And I wanted Maggie to be like, my husband got beaten to death in front of me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you have to say?
She should have just like given him like the little gut tap
Yeah.
like that. Like, oh, what?
Oh, yeah?
Well, that's why my thing with Gregory is that that's why I was annoyed by him a little bit, because it's like it's almost like he's a woe is me kind of guy. You know what I mean?
he's definitely
totally
You know what I
is.
mean? It was like, okay, really, you haven't taken into account everything these women have lost.
Yeah.
And you're being an asshole about it, by the way, because you're saying, why are these graves here? Let's burn everybody.
Oh, she's
first
pregnant.
Of all.
That was her mistake.
Yeah, you know, I
Taking
mean,
the
you
watch
say
right
these
off
little
the grave.
jabs. You know what I mean? So just. He's I don't know. He's a joke to me a little bit.
He took the watch off the grave. That was
Yeah,
bad news.
yeah, that was
Exactly.
bad.
When I was a little kid and I would hang out at like diners when my parents would be like doing something, I would take the tips off the tables because I didn't
gosh.
I didn't
Wow,
understand.
we're learning a lot
Wow.
about you, Ben.
I didn't understand what
Become a
tips were when I was
server.
like 5 or 6. I was like 5 or 6. I didn't spend a lot of time hanging out at diners, but I have like a couple memories of doing this. And then my parents saw me do it once, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "People just leave money on these tables." And
How much money did you steal from waitresses when you were little?
Oh, it was like quarters and stuff.
Okay, you didn't go for the bills. You thought the quarters were the real value?
I mean, as far as I remember, I did it 2 times, and it was with like coins until my parents were like, "What are you doing?" But that was kind of that doesn't really relate to the watch. Hi guys, what's going on?
What are you talking about?
Left it there.
On the chat though, there was a huge debate about Gregory though. Some people love Gregory. Some Cameron Twist says Gregory is such a selfless, vain wanker. And then Mary Duda 444 said Gregory is the best. Is nice to have a gray character on the good guy side, whatever that means.
Gray character?
I don't consider him a
A
gray
gray
character.
character, whatever that means.
Well, because
yes.
there's the people that are definitively good and people that are definitively bad, and
Sure.
I'm interpreting that as this is more of a tweener character. but I think he's bad. He's just too scared to go all the way bad.
Exactly.
Like,
He's too, like,
here's the thing
tentative.
about that type of character Gregory is. I think he's so that character that's sometimey. He's gonna go with whatever side he needs to go on, and then like you can never trust him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's
Like
just-
he will throw you under the bus in 2 seconds.
Yeah, he already did.
As he was going to.
He already
You know what I
did.
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
he's like,
come
let me
on.
get on your good side,
Yeah.
show you what's in my closet. Oh,
they're
yeah,
not there.
Sure, it's-
Oh.
stop.
Dude's bad news. So
Yeah.
all right, so before that all happens, we
Sorry,
have this like moment where they wake up and they're like, why is there music playing?
Yep.
And why are there these fires lit? And why is the gate open? Why are there walkers coming in? Now, couple problems with this personally. Okay?
Several.
One, I don't believe that in the middle of the night the saviors would be able to break the gate open
Yep.
Without anyone noticing.
without anybody hearing,
I said
drive
the
a
same
car in,
Yep.
turn music on after lighting 4 or 5 fires.
Pretty big fires too.
Pretty big fires, and then get out without anybody seeing or noticing what was going on. Like,
I agree.
Right?
I said the same thing.
Also, what kind of community is this that they don't have a lookout person?
100%.
Exactly. They would have been attacked
Because
1,000
Rick's
times over
group
by
always
now.
had a lookout person.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And I don't believe these people could have survived that long without a lookout. And
Right.
the only plausible explanation is that means a savior killed a lookout, which makes it bigger than what actually happened because there was a definitive death caused by that. So which is it? Is it the community's too dumb to have a lookout, or the saviors took out the lookout?
I wish
I
we
don't-
could have seen a little bit more of the setup
Yeah,
going
I don't
into
think they
it.
took out the lookout because
'Cause I
they
don't-
still need them,
Right.
theoretically.
But
you know?
that's really stupid that this community does not have a lookout.
so there's a little bit of a thing
That's
going
really
on
dumb.
with Negan and the Saviors that I think is one of the first. It's one of the first things that's happened in this show that I feel like is really just like boldly acknowledging this is a comic book, so there's going to be a suspension of your disbelief. Like okay, all the stuff that they did to set up the last season's finale, lighting the fires and the roadblocks and the whistling and corralling them into this perfect area, and like the fire coming through the wood and all that stuff. I remember when that happening, like, how'd they light that fire from the other side? Like, how'd that happen?
Right.
Who was back there? We've said these things before, and I kind of think they are trying to set up just a little bit of a, like, we have no face, we're all Negan, we can do anything. They're a little bit like stealth, ninja, superhero, supervillain kind of. I think they honestly are comfortable with us thinking of them that way, that they can get away with it, they can do that stuff. They don't need to explain it. And it's a little bit, I think, lazy on their part, because it does take away from it. But I think they are trying to create this idea that, like, they can do anything, they're capable of doing anything because of their numbers and their resources.
Yeah, that one still felt like a shark jump to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Just
Like the car,
commenters are gonna hate me today.
and the car's got the flipping the bird on the back of it. Right?
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and,
mean, that's what
Sasha's
reminded me.
struggle with getting that up. I love that they showed that part, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that whole scene, my first thought was like, okay, did Gregory somehow do this to like set them up so that like they brought badness into like maybe so he can turn the town against them to get them to leave, but then he didn't, and they like take care of business. And Jesus is a sweet ninja. He's like doing all kinds
He
of
did like
kicks and stuff.
3 drop kicks, like 3 straight up, like
He did.
like UFC drop kicks.
Yeah, he's like Jean-Claude Van Damme if Jean-Claude Van Damme were in The Walking Dead. And it was 1992.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Or 88. I don't know.
Jean-Claude Van
That's it.
Damme wishes he was in
Yeah.
The Walking Dead because then he would be relevant again.
Oh, he is relevant. Did you guys watch Jean-Claude Van Johnson, the Amazon pilot? It's fantastic.
No.
He's-
But now I need to watch it.
You should watch it. I'm not going to waste everybody's time
Yeah.
right now talking about it. Go
They're
watch
going to get mad at you in the chat, Ben.
Yeah,
you got to
right?
stay focused.
Okay,
Stay focused.
So anyway, Gregory sees this and he's like, what the hell's going on? I got to talk to these people. So he's like talking to Sasha and to Maggie, and he's like, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. And then the saviors show up.
Here's some preserves.
Yeah. Here's some
Yeah.
preserves, and he gets everyone's name wrong.
Yeah.
I like the getting everyone's name wrong bit. It's funny, right?
It kind of is. It was kind of witty, actually, a little bit.
Every
Like a
time he
weird
does
way.
it, when he like looked to the window when they heard the saviors arrive, my reaction at that point wasn't even just like punch this guy. It was like literally shank him in the back. Like
Yeah.
I would turn on people so quickly if that was a real
yeah.
the real world.
But
I
it's
mean,
also
yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I guess.
it's also like each of these communities, it's very clear that they're all at sort of like different places, right? So the kingdom, from what we've seen, is like very, very, very like Disneyland, fantastic. Nobody's really had to deal
Very
with
sheltered.
anything. Very sheltered.
Yep.
Whereas like the Alexandrians, like they are hardened. They have had to like rip people's throats out with their teeth hardened. They like the saviors are like kind of like bullies. They've had to deal with a lot. You don't know actually how hard all the saviors are, though.
But they got big guns, so they're happy.
They got a lot of resources. And then it seems like at the Hilltop, they seem pretty sheltered too.
Yeah.
They seem like more scared than anything else. And Gregory somehow has like convinced them all that they are, I guess, safe or something like that. Why do you think he's able to stay in power? What do you guys think?
Well, they made the point of he's an idiot and he's a coward and he's in charge, and a coward in charge is one of the most dangerous people.
Yeah, she said it's more dangerous, right?
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of what a lot of people are feeling in real life right now, where there's an idiot in charge.
Yeah, true.
Very true.
And he could be bullied by people on the internet about Hamilton. So
Yeah,
I'll just leave that at that.
Yeah, what a ridiculous weekend.
Right.
So anyway, the saviors show up here, and we have this whole confrontation that goes down, and Stephen Ogg shows back up. What's his character's name again?
Simon.
Yeah, Simon.
I like
He's
him.
such a good, like, partial lunatic in anything he does. In Westworld, in Grand Theft Auto, in he did Rush from Battlefield with
Yeah,
the
he did
Corridor
Battlefield.
Digital.
Yeah,
Like,
he did.
and him just as like, there's something just
He's a great
off.
asshole.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's really good
He's
at
good.
that.
And that facial hair is just on point.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Susie.
Creeps
She's
me
like,
out.
uh-oh.
I love when he takes the scotch. I love when he takes the scotch, and he's like, "I'm gonna tell him it's from me."
And I'm just
Yeah,
not
right.
going to mention you.
Well, okay. According to the chat, though, they're saying that Ed Morris says because no one else wants to be in power, that's why Gregory is
Yeah.
like able
Yeah.
to sustain this power
Some
because no
people
one
don't
else
want
wants
the
to step up and
responsibility.
really do it and take
Right.
that responsibility.
And because
I
they're
agree with you,
saviors,
actually,
yeah.
Ep. I agree with you.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Jesus blatantly kept rejecting it because I think Gregory enjoys being in power, but I think he also knows like being in power with working with somebody like the Saviors is if his people screw up too much, he's going to be the one that's made the example
True.
of not his people.
And I'm actually starting to like Jesus. I hate to say it, but I did not like him at the beginning.
Oh, really?
I've
No,
always liked Jesus.
no. See, I thought he was sometimey too. I thought he would change on you in any minute. Like I wouldn't trust him.
Oh no, he's
But
no,
now
he seems
it's
pretty
like,
genuine.
and his hair bothered me
His
a little
hair
bit.
bothers
his
me
hair
still.
bothered me still.
It still
just
bothers you,
Where's
huh?
his straightener?
Yeah, like
He's got a sheet somewhere at home. He's
Where
just
are your
straightening
products
his
that you have
hair.
hiding somewhere? But
kind of-
But
it's
other
different.
than that, I like him.
Can I pull the other side of the table here? Like, what kind of hair would he have to not bother you?
It's just gotta have
It
a
just
little
looks
wave
too
to it.
perfectly
It's so straight.
I don't know. It
I know you're
bothers
straightening
me.
that.
Thank you, Susie, for saying that because
It's
it does
true.
bother me.
But I
Yeah.
like him though. He seems genuine
Yeah.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, now he does.
I
Now
think
he
by
does.
naming
Now
a
he
character
does.
Jesus, like that's a pretty ballsy move if you're going to turn that character into an asshole.
Yeah, true.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
I kind of like it.
So the negotiations start, and Sasha and Maggie hide in the closet, but just the closet, not
A closet.
A closet, yeah.
a closet.
A closet.
And after Gregory is like, yeah, like, so, and they do this whole like suspense building thing, you know, where you think that Stephen Ogg knows what's going on.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, this picture and blah blah. I actually, to be perfectly honest with you, felt like because we have seen this out of Negan with Rick already, like recently, like last episode, we saw a lot of that. I kind of felt like this was pretty long-winded.
I actually liked it because it showed that somebody else was learning and copycatting Negan. So
Right.
the whole idea that we are Negan and Simon actually saying to Gregory, I'm your Negan now. I'm Negan. Like,
But did you really take him that seriously? Because I actually didn't. Because to me, he was like someone who was trying to step up and be more powerful than what he really was.
No, but that's what I'm saying is he actually was like he was copycatting. He wasn't actually in power, but in that situation he was in power. So he was just showing I could do everything Negan could do. Look at me, but not actually having true power.
Yeah.
That's why I liked it. Again, crazy person.
But Gregory was a perfect like victim for that though. You know, I don't know that he would be able to have that much like gusto with Rick or you know
Yeah.
Right.
Or
or this
anybody.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
only with women. He only has balls when he's talking to women.
Right. So yeah, he's like, he kind of gives him this whole like, I know what's going on thing, and we all know that it's a huge problem if he finds Maggie and Sasha, obviously, because like they believe that they're dead.
They're dead, yeah.
And I guess do we really know what would happen? I guess.
Well, I think that he obviously would turn on Gregory and
Yep.
Jesus because they've lied to him. You know,
Maybe-
lied to the Savior's camp.
Maybe not Jesus. I think he would take out
Definitely Gregory. Gregory would
100%.
probably be the first one.
And then Maggie and Sasha back to Negan's main
I mean,
camp.
because
agree.
he's blatantly lying to them.
Yeah, and
Right.
he also made the comment last week about like, you know, he'd be interested in Maggie or whatever, but then he
Yeah.
kind of was like, I'm kidding. He's like, you don't want to leave that woman alive because
Right.
like what she's vindictive and all that. So
Right. Yep.
so that's why they have to kind of stay hidden. But after Gregory has this whole sit down, you're like, oh, like nothing's gonna happen. Then he gets up and he tries to rat him out, and in turn ends up having to give away his entire case of Balvenie, the single malt Scotch, delicious, delicious Scotch.
Hence my statement that he will turn on you at any moment.
Yeah, and he was so upset about the Scotch. That whole thing was great.
That was great.
Yeah.
Well, I love how Jesus played it during that too, because Gregory's like looking at him because he knows
And he shakes
Jesus
his head.
and he's gonna, because Jesus had to show that hesitation of please don't do this, otherwise Gregory would have known something is up. So Jesus kind of threw Gregory under the bus in that regard, and I didn't mind it one bit.
I didn't mind it. No.
Agreed. He I thought he was gonna do the thing where I thought he might leave him the one bottle. You know, he hands him the one bottle, take the box, leave him the bottle.
Right, and how do you
Like
know?
when you cut the slice of cake and then you take the whole rest of the cake and leave the slice.
Yeah.
But he even wanted the
never
extra
done
slice. He's like, can you
No, just
trying to save face
change
after
that's
the
left.
exactly after the tip story.
Yeah.
Losing
Been there,
points.
We've been there.
Yeah, right. You thought he was cute until
until you learned he was
Until
a
you-
disease.
Sorry.
All right.
But so he ends up losing his Scotch, and then he's made to kneel, and that's great, right? Like Simon's like, that's a quality kneel. Is that what he said? It's a solid kneel.
A solid
Gregory.
kneel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Solid kneel.
I also like that they only made him kneel. They didn't actually make Jesus kneel.
Yeah, because they don't like when people think they're in power. They don't like those people that think they're the figurehead, and they really want to, embarrass them and make them understand that they have absolutely no footing. And Gregory, I love also after he left, Gregory was like, we made progress today. It's like, is that what you think happened?
Yeah.
You
Right.
didn't make progress today?
Delusional.
Just took your lunch money. Hard took your lunch
But
money.
would you trust him as your leader, though? I
Agree.
mean, I would never trust
Right.
him.
Never.
No, I would
I would feel like at
stab
any
him.
moment he would
Yeah.
throw me under the bus.
And he's
Absolutely.
so huffy. When he talks, he goes, I he's always stuttering. And
Yeah. Gets
really worked up.
Golly.
Yeah, I
can't.
I personally think Xander Berkeley is killing it as Gregory. Because I think he's you love
Oh,
to
I
hate
love him as
Easy
an
to hate.
actor.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
But there's only so much.
Gregory.
There's only so much time I could spend with a shitweasel character like him.
Yeah.
Before he has to die. Otherwise, he becomes annoying to the show as opposed to just being an annoying character that gets a reaction from me.
Definitely.
I give him 3 more episodes max before
You're burnt out.
I'm.
Or
burnt
he's
out
going
with
to
it.
die.
Right.
I
But
think
it
he's
makes-
alive.
Not necessarily
Is that part of your
die.
prediction?
Not necessarily die, but at least not being the figurehead of Hilltop.
I think he'll do what he has to do to stay alive for a while, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Well-
He does say really quickly one line that he says in that interaction that I just want to point out. He says to Simon, I understand the benefits of crossing the aisle. Is that what he says? I wrote that down. Was it the consequences of crossing the aisle or the benefits? I wrote down benefits, which doesn't make any sense to me. I was trying to figure out what he was talking about crossing the aisle.
I don't remember the exact line, but I think it's. Damn, I wish I had the quote in front of me because I don't want to speak out of turn on
Yeah.
it.
When he said it, I was thinking it was the consequences of crossing the aisle.
You
going
guys
to the
let us
other
know.
side.
Tweet us or, let us know
Yeah.
what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think that he's a different leader. If you really think about all the leaders that we've seen on this show, from obviously Rick to, just everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a different component of leadership. I don't take him so seriously out of all the others, you know what I mean? So
He's not a real leader,
Right.
right?
yeah, but everybody who's appointed, everyone wants to follow. He's not someone I feel like you really want to follow.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
there's the difference between somebody who is a leader and somebody who is appointed leader.
Look at the governor. Look at Rick. Look at
Those guys are leaders.
Right.
Look at
Yeah.
Negan. I mean, to an extent, I know there's been a lot of controversy. A lot of people saying on the chat and social media that he's too much cartoonish.
Yeah.
But he still is a leader.
He wants to lead. I actually think there's a little bit of an act from Gregory when he says those things like, what, you want to take over? You want to lead the people? You want to deal with this broken gate and you want to set the table? It's that's, I think, his way of just being you don't know how hard this is. Oh, be my
Right.
guest.
Okay.
But I
All
think
right.
he would be a lot less happy if somebody was like, I do. You're out of power,
Right.
man.
Right.
Go live in a shack. I'm going to sit in your office. I think, wait.
Okay.
We can work
All
it
right.
out. I think
Right.
that's just he's
His
just
thing.
the ultimate little ninny. He just sucks.
And I think
Yeah.
it's because, you were saying, that
I like
one
that,
community,
Ninny.
they haven't been through as much. They're more sheltered. You
Yeah.
know, they don't
Yeah.
really know what's what. So
Nobody wants to deal with
they
it.
did.
Yeah, because that spot was what, a FEMA camp or something like that when everything started.
Something like that, yeah. So moving on from the saviors and scotch moment. So that ends. They take the case of scotch. They take his painting. Gregory is tries to flex again and be like, you guys need to leave. And then Maggie pulls the, I'm Maggie Rhee, give me my watch back, you
Jesus
prick.
stepped up too.
Yeah.
He's like, no, they're not going.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
kind of put in his place now, which I think they're pretty clearly setting up for Maggie to stay, and then eventually it feels like to just take over. That was like the vibe I got, because I don't think Jesus has any interest in taking over.
No, Jesus won't ever be a leader.
No.
I think Sasha feels like a little bit more of like a roaming character. Like I think I'd see her back at.
Although she stepped up a
Alexandria.
lot tonight, though.
Yeah,
She did.
definitely.
Right.
She feels a lot like a Michonne to me. Like she could be put in different scenarios and be a valuable asset.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has any desire to be settled down right now.
I think
You
she
don't
wants to
even think
go
so now with
rogue.
Abraham, his death? Like
I
maybe
think
it
that's
changes
more
her mental for her?
I think she's more grounded than she ever has been. Like I don't think she's going to go through those like insanity moments like she
Okay.
did last season. But I also think she doesn't have anything to hold her to a certain group of people other than right now she feels like she needs to take care of Maggie and the baby. And I think whenever the baby is born, that's when the door opens for her to kind of be, you know, the solo wanderer vigilante character in a way.
There's like always a theme to me with Maggie.
Yeah.
She's always the one who everyone wants to take care of. Carle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously Glenn, Rick, you know.
Enid.
Enid, Aaron, Herschel. I mean, everyone always wants to take care of Maggie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She steps up when she needs to step up, but it's always like she's the one character I feel like out of all the other characters on this show that everyone always wants to take care of.
I love Lauren Cohen. Huge crush.
I know.
Just
Everybody
for-
loves Lauren Cohen.
Love,
could you
love,
not?
love that girl.
She's sexy for sure.
Phenomenal.
She's great. Well, yeah, she actually does a really good job with the character. She sells it really well.
Yeah.
I think something to pay attention to though, talking about the point of her character growth and possibly taking over is the way they framed that scene with her talking to Gregory, the way what she said, everything about it. It was very Heisenberg, say my name, you're goddamn right I am from Breaking Bad.
Right.
You know, it was very much that moment to me of like, this is who I am. I'm a strong woman. I lost the only thing that I felt in life I could not lose, and it's gone, and I'm moving on. Like she says to Enid at the end of the episode, we don't need trinkets to remember people by. We'll have the memory. You know, I kind of get the sense she's like, what more can you take from me? You know, I will survive. I'm strong, and that's what she was saying to Gregory. So that's why I think they were making a pretty clear statement there. Maggie she's coming out the other side of this like kind of cathartic moment.
Sure.
And I think she's going to step up in a big way, whether she is a leader there or she kind of takes over leading in Alexandria. I think she's going to be a leader character from
Absolutely.
here on out.
But
I was
that's
disappointed.
her regardless, I think.
I was disappointed she didn't hit him again. The second she saw the chain, like at that point, just haul. Because the first hit, I was happy it happened, but it wasn't that good a hit.
You want it to be
Oh,
more...
I wanted him
him
to
out.
like have blood like coming out of the edge of his mouth. Like
Okay, all right.
I wanted a hit, and even if the first one didn't do it, after seeing that chain from the watch and getting it back, she should have hauled off and knocked him on his ass.
I sort of thought the shot that could have gone, because she really swung into it.
And
she
it didn't
hits
really
him.
do much.
He could have doubled over, and then she could have given him a knee to the face, and he would have gone to the ground. And then she takes the watch and she's talking down at him. Because like I feel like she was really what she was saying is like, you just tried to get us killed, man.
Yeah.
Like you just
Right.
tried to sell
Like,
us
yeah, I
out.
feel you, yeah.
I mean,
You know?
for me overall, like I kind of wish that we had opened up with a little more of her being broken.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah,
felt like
I
she
agree.
was smiling a little quickly
Yeah.
for me personally.
Especially right after what just happened.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I
She's
give you
only
that.
just dealing with it. Yeah.
As far as the hit not being super strong, I kind of understand because she did just go through something really traumatic
Right.
physically, so that I sort of understand. But just emotionally, I wish she would have been broken down a little more, and that moment would have been more rewarding for me. I feel like.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room here, guys. The teen angst, the roller skates,
God, I hate
the
millennials.
date to the
It
roller
wasn't
rink.
precious? No.
I'm so annoyed by that scene.
Yeah, Enid's like, I'm gonna go, and Carle's like, I'm sorry I locked you in the armory. I saved you. She's like, what'd you save me from? She's all like angsty. Carle goes after her in a car. They put on roller skates, which we all
also wastes a car.
yeah, totally waste a car. We
And
also,
roller skates, by the way,
car.
because you can have roller skate on the rocks like that. Let's just keep it real.
we
And it's
also all-
reasonable to do out in the
I'm
open
just saying,
where,
yeah.
where
Just
where
to
the
be
walkers
honest
could get
about
you.
this.
you
I've roller
imagine-
skated a lot in my life.
Can you
Come on.
imagine like how awkward it would have been if they're like, okay, they've got their roller skates on, they're tied,
Yeah.
and like a couple walkers like come out from this, and they're like, how do we get away
They
from
would
these
be.
I
walkers?
wish.
Excuse my
I
language.
wish that
They'd be
happened.
fucked.
Yeah.
Right.
They'd be like
Absolutely.
trying to like go really fast, and the walkers would be gaining on, and then they're like kind of on the ground and kind of kick them off. I don't know. That's like, what if one of them had died because of the roller
I would have been
skates?
so
I wish.
happy.
Yeah.
I would have been
okay
happy
with
if Enid would have died during the roller skates. I've expressed my annoyance with
Yeah.
Enid. If
Stupid
you
kid.
hate on me for that, fine. I'm so annoyed with her. I
Yeah.
think her decisions, like her choices of decisions, are terrible. Her jumping over the fence again, I'm like, is this deja vu? Like, why are we chasing her? Why are we still chasing her?
Well,
Carl, why are we still chasing her?
We'll get into that in our spoiler stuff later
All right,
as
okay,
the
all
answer
right,
on
all
it. But
right, okay.
there
sorry, I had to-
there is a logical reason why that
Yeah.
the comic book gives us, but we won't ruin it for the show, obviously.
Okay.
If
all right.
Enid had actually
Just yet.
died in that scene in like the most just like random because of roller skates way, it
would've
would have
been
been
so
the
happy.
ultimate comedy the show could ever present. It would have been the most like head scratching, like what the hell, and it would have been. I think it would have been great. But
I think it would have been great.
I
Yeah.
would have
Totally
loved it,
would've been okay
actually.
with it.
Yeah. Not everyone dies epically, you
yeah,
know?
let's put our roller skates on and hold hands and then get eaten
Actually,
by
that'd
a
be
zombie.
great.
Yeah.
I would have loved it.
Like you're actually kids who are not sensible because you
Yeah.
decided that roller skating was a good plan.
No,
Seriously.
and this is the problem. Damn kids don't have any consequences anymore.
Millennials, man. Yeah. So anyway, so we get that, and then they.
33 and I'm angry at everything.
Wait, I was like, aren't we sort of like
I'm the-
millennial-ish?
Yeah,
We're
no.
like at the end of
Definitely
millennial.
I still
I'm
say
at the
Gen
end of
Y.
millennial.
I don't say millennial for myself.
Did you just wave? Are you a millennial?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think
hope
I'm
so.
I'm the end of my millennial,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
I'm kind of one. But anyway, so
All right, sorry.
like they're watching as all of the saviors are taking things and whatever, and Carl's like, I'm gonna go, and then they kiss. They have their moment. She's like, please don't go, and she's like, how are you gonna get away? He's like, I don't know, and she's like, I care. And
I love the way you just like did that whole
Yeah.
scene.
That was
I mean,
So
that's
good.
that's how it read in my head.
Super
So
good.
you nailed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, how would you get away? Wouldn't matter. It would to me. That's what it was right there.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
genius,
I
Ben.
liked
I
it.
love it. I love it actually.
It was pretty rough to watch.
He's horny and he's like 16. I get it.
I don't
But
know, man. He's
At this stage,
If you're
come
horny,
on.
don't leave. If you're horny, you don't leave that scenario.
I have my moments with Chandler Briggs where I feel like he's a good actor, and I have my own moments where I feel like he's a terrible actor. And overall, he's
Well,
been a
the
fine.
chat has said that he was terrible in many times.
Yeah.
I don't think he's terrible. I think he's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the circumstances make him appear to be a bad actor.
I
Maybe
think
that's a better way
it's
to say
it.
adults writing kids,
Yeah.
and that's why it's like
And
it
his
doesn't-
hair
it
is
doesn't-
perfectly
It doesn't resonate with me like as real.
Farrah Fawcett.
I've heard the argument before that Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, was actually not as bad as I thought. But I
No,
personally
it's
think that
pretty
he
bad.
ruins those movies. He's so bad.
It
He's
also
terrible.
ruined his acting career, so it's okay.
I love
Yeah.
you, hate him, but it was terrible.
Okay, so those are the situations where you're watching. You're like, we're all seeing this, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
is it the dialogue? Is it the performance? The chemistry? The delivery? What is it? So with him, sometimes Chandler Briggs, Chandler Briggs, Chandler Briggs.
Whatever.
Riggs, I
Anyway,
think.
but like, here's the thing.
No, get it
We're-
right because they're going to be
I
mad
think
at
it's
us
Chandler
in the
Riggs.
chat.
That's what I said the first
Riggs.
time.
All right.
But
It's Riggs.
what we're seeing, like as late 20 or early to mid 30 somethings, it bothers us. Damn, you're young. But my cousin's 13-year-old daughter is in love with this kid and everything he does as this character. So it's obviously resonating with somebody. But I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's like taking me to the mall and
We're
I just
curmudgeons. We're
yeah,
curmudgeons.
I just see
Did you
kids
say
running
taking meat at the
no,
mall?
taking me to the mall.
Oh, if you said taking meat at the mall, I was like,
No.
wait, where is
It's
this
a
going
millennial.
right
It's a
now?
millennial phrase. Take me to the mall.
And we are off the rails.
No, all right, guys. Let's get back
All right.
on track. So
All right, it's all right.
we have this kiss. I am having a hard time with it. It's gonna go. It's gonna be a thing. As you said, we will talk a little bit here at the end of the episode about
Yep.
in the spoiler section what's going on. In the end of the episode, Sasha's like, Jesus, what's up? I need you to find Negan's compound. I need you to keep it between us. And he's like, I don't want to do that, right? But he's like, but I'll do it to repay my debt to you. And so then he ends up dumping scotch out of the back of his truck.
Right.
And Carl's like, what's up, man? And that's how the episode pretty much ends. What do you guys think? Are they going to team up? We got to team up?
So, before we get to the team up, I actually think that the dumping of the scotch was a kind of dumb move because I feel like Simon knows how much booze is in there, and if something's missing, it's going to go two ways: that they're going to know something's up, or it could go in a positive where he thinks that the kid that was loading the truck was messing with it and tried to steal his stuff, and then there's a little bit of dissension internally. But it just seemed like an odd.
Yeah, what's
random
the point of letting
choice
them know
of
you were
doing it.
there kind of a thing?
Yeah,
why,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, why?
Why?
Why would you do
Okay,
it?
I feel that.
And I don't think Jesus had the foresight to think, oh well, this puts distrust from within the saviors.
And he's kind of a ninja, so it doesn't seem like his style.
Yeah.
He's like a lot more, yeah.
Agreed.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So what do we think that, well, actually, maybe that should lead us into predictions, because we only just get
think
that
so.
for just a brief moment.
Yeah.
So let's talk
Yep.
predictions, what we think is going to happen here. There we go. Buttons on time.
Your AfterBuzz TV
Predictions.
That was a good picture from last week that I took with you holding
It was
back.
really
It was a
good.
solid picture.
Yeah, it's cool. So let's talk predictions, guys. We're going to do a basic prediction here. We're each going to throw one at you, and then we're going to do our sign-off, because at the end of this, we're going to have like a little discussion about the comic book and the spoiler section. So we're going to start with you, Derrial, and you are going to sign off and also give us one prediction, please.
Which one's first? Sign off or
No, you want a prediction first, and then where the people can
So
find you.
Enid's gonna die. Enid will die. And
Really?
I feel like before the I feel like not this half, but second half, Enid's gonna die.
Okay.
I feel strongly about that, actually.
You're holding
Very
it in
strongly
front of
about
his
that.
camera.
Yeah, you are in my camera angle.
I'm killing
all
you
this
right
chocolate.
now. I'm sorry.
Shocked the booth isn't yelling at
Yeah,
us
yeah,
right
no,
now.
I really do. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel also that, Sasha and Maggie are going to step up to be leaders in that group, especially Maggie. I do agree with you there. But I think that Maggie's going to take it to another level because she's on a vengeance too. You know what I mean?
too,
She's
yeah.
really hurt, and I was really happy that the baby did survive.
Yep.
And I think that once Negan finds out that at some point he's going to find out that she's still alive, and he's going to come after her in some way. I do feel like that's a prediction in my with this show as well. And she's going to take him down somehow. So yeah, that's part of it. So I don't know. That's all
Susannah.
I got.
I like it.
Where can people find you, Derrial?
Oh, you can find me DerrialChriston. That's all my social media handles: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow me. You guys been tweeting me. I'll tweet you back. I like some of the conspiracy theories you guys have about the show. I actually research a lot of things you guys tell me, so let's keep the conversation going.
Gonna post the last few vines under that handle before it goes away for forever too.
Absolutely, for sure. Do that.
All right, so I also think that Maggie and Negan will eventually. I want them to get together. Not that they're gonna actually get together, but I want Negan to sort of force Maggie into obviously he doesn't think anything of marriage. He wifes whoever he feels like.
right.
So I want him to be like, oh, you're alive, cool. I'm gonna wife you, and
she'll
then
trick
she
him.
gets she
like
gets
that.
into some sort of intimate situation, and that's where he's most vulnerable. And takes him out some way that I don't know,
Wow, that'd
something
be
along those lines.
That
I
would
would
be
love something like
actually
that.
that would be genius.
I would love that. So there's that. I definitely think Gregory is not going to last long, and I think that's why he's been a little more annoying.
Yeah.
That whole shit weasel thing. It's because it'll be more satisfying when he goes.
shit weasel
know.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, when he goes, we'll
We've
be
all
like,
sworn on this
yes.
episode now.
Oh right.
She was the last good one.
Dude, in real life, it's every other word. But yeah, I think that's it. That's what I got.
Where can folks find you?
Oh, you guys can find me at Susannah_Kim, SUSANNAH_KIM.
Whiskey and waffles. What you got for us?
So unfortunately, I'm going to hold everything until the spoiler side because everything that was presented from this episode leads me to what happens in the comics, and I don't want to spoil that inadvertently for somebody who hasn't read that part. So,
Well, you're so
Carle,
politically correct, John.
Yeah.
Carle. Jesus
the
Christ.
internet hates me sometimes.
Oh my God.
The stuff that I do not
Step
on
it
this
up,
show, I
man.
get in
Come on,
trouble.
dude.
I mean, I usually hate spoilers too,
Yeah,
so
well,
I
you're
get
stuck
it.
with us, so it's fine. TheJohncArle on Twitter and Instagram, and Whiskey and Waffles on YouTube.
Cool. Guys, I'm Ben Bateman. You can find me at Ben Bateman Media on Twitter and Instagram. I have a couple quick predictions. I think so. And John, I feel like I'm kind of actually in the same position you're in, except that I'm a little hazy on exactly how this all plays out in the comics.
Do you
so-
want to whisper in my ear?
No,
off
no,
mic
I'm
and
just
we
gonna-
can- no.
I'm
So
just gonna
basically
go
you're saying
for
it's
it.
us two against you two. Is
Right,
what
is
you're
that
saying.
what's happening?
I'm gonna go for it for a second and see if I can. Don't block the camera. I made that mistake already. I'm gonna go for it here and see if I can. So what I think is gonna happen is that they're gonna get to Negan's camp, and I think that Carle is gonna. I think he's gonna get inside and put himself in a really, really dangerous position. But I feel like because of the way Negan has he seems to be entertained by Carle and all of their interactions. I think he's gonna kind of not apprentice Carle, but I think he's gonna kind of keep him around and I don't really know, sort of his lapdog or something like that. I think Carle and Negan are gonna sort of develop this rapport for whatever it's worth, whatever that means.
Interesting.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
That is my prediction, my main prediction for now. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We're gonna throw a spoiler alert up here on the screen, and we're gonna
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert.
Yep, that's the one.
Spoiler alert.
Make sure to subscribe to us on
alert.
YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Yep.
So the last thing, guys, one last time, we are talking about stuff from the comics that you don't want to know about unless you want to know about it. So last chance, get out of here, turn it off, push pause on the podcast, turn off YouTube, whatever you got to do. Let's get into it. Does that happen in the comic?
Yes.
It's exactly.
Yeah,
what
that's
happens.
exactly why I
Okay.
didn't want to say it.
I just don't remember.
So, the things that are going to happen off of this episode, it definitely aligns really, really closely with the comic. You guys might want to earmuff.
Well, I know
Giving up
some of
on
it.
it.
Yeah.
So,
So,
okay. But here,
without a doubt, they're gonna reignite the Negan's love for Carle as the little serial killer in the making.
Right.
Because he's gonna try to do something. I think it was foreshadowing that his aim sucks at the moment.
Right.
And he's gonna try.
and Negan's gonna be
He's
the
gonna
one who
stop
holds that
him.
in.
Yeah, and he's gonna miss the one shot that he wants to take that one shot. He's gonna miss with it.
Because and then Negan feels like he has a bargaining chip over Rick, right?
Right.
That's the other deal.
Yeah, because
that's
he's what's going to happen from that, no doubt, especially with the way it's like, see, I do a good thing for you, you do a good thing for me. He can hold it over Rick's head that he did not kill Rick's
But
kid.
does he lose the respect for his dad though?
I don't remember how this all works, but there's definitely. I also think the other interesting thing though is that if Carl's inside the compound, because as we've said before, Derrial doesn't exist in the comics, there might be
Right.
an interesting interplay between those two characters, and that might create like more of Daryl's turn back to the good guys.
Or he somehow provides a distraction that Jesus is able to use to help get Derrial out.
Yeah, something like that.
And 100% this episode was leading into the eventual turn of Maggie becoming, I think it's going to be held off a little bit till when it's official. I think she has to have the kid before she's revealed as the leader of the Hilltop, because a pregnant woman in charge is going to be dealing with the fact that she's pregnant. It's already one huge thing for her to deal with, and then to be in charge of leadership as well is going to be a challenge. And the swap with Enid being where Sophia in the comics was.
Right.
So
And that was one of the chat comments actually.
yeah,
so.
within the comics, Sophia goes with Maggie to Hilltop, and Carle has this slight crush on her.
But Sophia also, that's another one of these weird shifted characters where her mom was the original Carle, but that's a totally different Carle.
Right.
Yep.
And then she's a totally different character. She's just the other kid basically. She's the similar age kid to Carle throughout
Carle,
all of
right.
this.
Specifically the similar age kid of the opposite sex.
Yeah. So that's definitely the spot Enid is
Sure.
taking in the story.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think they're going to take her out as much as I wish they would, because I just how this character is written. But
I want her to go down.
It's what keeps.
Sorry.
It's absolutely what keeps Carle from fully embracing Alexandria. Is now the one interest he really has in the world is far away from him.
Yeah, but also I think it should be noted because there are character differences and they're good at definitely changing things up, but Enid's a very different character and her role and their
She is.
relationship to this point is
Yeah.
very
Yes.
different than it was in the comics.
Yep.
In the comics, it's like what's relevant about his relationship to Sophia is that they've known each other since they were like little kids.
Right.
So they get to be teenagers and there's like this whole other dynamic where it's like, oh, we've known each other since we were like
Right.
8 or something or 10 or however old it was when it started. Versus this, it's like they kind of met as like emo teens who were like
Sure.
really angsty,
Yeah.
and there's kind of so I think she'll serve a similar role. But as the story goes, if we go into that next stuff with all Alpha and all that, and the Whisperers, I don't think it's gonna. So anyway, that's that.
Also, and this is vague enough that it's not going to ruin it for them. Somebody was theorizing online that the Whisperers won't ever happen in the show, and I completely disagree with that.
Oh, it's such a cool part of the story. So we'll spoil that for you guys at a later time.
We'll spoil it before it happens, but not
Thank you.
yet.
It's okay. I like that.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been a blast. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a great time on Thursday. It's going to be so much fun.
Lots of turkey.
I need that to go hunt for
All right,
turkey.
fine.
Bye, guys. Thank you for listening and watching.
Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Woo!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.